series. We're headed to the second half, and the Warriors have a 50-48 lead over the Mavericks. Marv Albert, Steve Kerr, Pam Oliver looking back at the first half. The story for Dallas, the offense, Jerry Stackhouse, who did it coming off the bench for 18 points. And how about Baron Davis, despite that strained hamstring injury suffered late in the first quarter, he comes on and puts up 13 points in the second quarter.
Well, Davis was incredible, but he had to take some difficult shots to get those points. The problem for Golden State is once he got injured, they lost the pace, the tempo of the game. The game is no longer chaotic now that Davis isn't healthy defensively. He's not able to push the ball. This is a Dallas tempo, and unless the Warriors can continue this incredibly hot three-point shooting, as you look at the halftime summary, I think they're in a little bit of trouble here because this is not the type of atmosphere and the type of tempo that the Warriors need to win.
Here's Jackson. Barnes gets to it and pops it out to Richardson, but it's waved off. Barnes was out of bounds as he came up with that ball in the scramble. Let's check it with Pam Oliver.
Marv, Baron Davis got right into the locker room for some more treatment on that hamstring strain at the half. The Warriors say Davis used the time to stretch. Coaches say the key for him will be to force people to come since he can't penetrate. Avery Johnson said, we're going to go after Baron, trap him a bunch, and make him have to work really, really hard on defense. Back to you.
Well, that has been the problem at the defensive end. Here's Howard trying a three-pointer, and back comes Barnes. Oh, beautiful pass, Jackson to Barnes on target. Looks like Barnes is in pain. He's playing with a slight pull.
With both Davis and Barnes laboring, I don't know how many easy buckets like that one they're going to get. It's up to Dallas now to maintain the tempo, control the tempo, make good decisions offensively.
Here is Terry. And the other concern for the Mavs, Dirk Nowitzki, only 1 of 10 from the field. Richardson gets inside. Nowitzki has to be careful because he is playing with 2 fouls. Dirk's been out of the offense.
Well, he's been completely out of rhythm. And sometimes with a shooter like Nowitzki, who relies so much on rhythm, he's not a technically sound shooter. He's way off balance on a lot of his shots, fading away. A little tougher to get out of a rut when you're an off-balance shooter.
Foul is called on Golden State as Terry made his cut. Foul on Barnes. That's his 3rd.
Well, Dallas really going at Davis. You see Terry getting into the lane. The foul there on Golden State. But in the previous possession, Davis got an ISO'd with Terry, and the same thing there. 3 in a row trying to get at him.
Shot clock out of 3. Howard, yes. Warriors lead by 2. Baron Davis hit his last 4 shots at the end of the second quarter. Barnes, oh, what a rejection. Emphatic block by Diop, and the save by Barnes. Able to deflect it off Terry.
Well, Desagena Diop has now played 25 minutes. His numbers aren't great, but this is what he's out there for. He's clogging the lane. Warriors aren't getting a lot of easy buckets like they were the last 5 games, and a lot of it has to do with Diop's presence.
Baron Davis scored 11 of the last 12 points in the second quarter for Golden State. Nice setup from Davis for Biedrins, and as Davis backpedals, you can see that he is hobbling. Harris picked up on a switch, now going at Davis, able to whip by and scores on the reverse. What a beautiful move.
Well, they switched Davis over from Terry to Harris, and as soon as Dallas recognized that, they went right at Davis again.
Foul is called on Terry.
It's kind of the same philosophy that Don Nelson has. Avery Johnson kind of using the Nelly philosophy, go at the other team's star. The Warriors have gone at Nowitzki defensively this entire series, or offensively, but now the tables are turned, particularly with Davis's hamstring problem, because he's normally an excellent defender.
There's the 3rd foul on Terry, and now Harris, who has had foul difficulties throughout this series, is called right there as Davis try to make his move along the baseline. For Harris, only his 1st.
This game is there for Dallas if they want it, but they're not right. You can feel, I mean, they're not smooth at all, and they leave Jackson open for a wide open 3.
Warriors with a 59-54 lead. They've hit 9 of 15 from beyond that three-point line.
And if I'm Avery Johnson, I think I'm going to go back to the man-to-man a little bit, especially because Davis isn't as big of a threat to penetrate.
Nowitzki from way downtown. Nice hustle there by Howard, but then a foul is called as Davis was tripped up. Howard was going for the save, and then the scramble continued. The foul is charged to Diop. And for Dallas already, that's 3 team fouls.
So you heard Stephen Jackson at halftime talking to Pam Oliver. Pam asked him, what do you need to do to win? He said, we got to share the ball, we got to defend better, and we got to let our crowd take us home. Well, the crowd's in it now.
Jackson from straight away for 3. Yes! Avery Johnson wants to talk it over.
That's what it's about. The Closer. The new season premieres Monday, June 18th on TNT.
Steve, the question is, what is going on with Dirk Nowitzki? Just 1 for 11 from the field. And the other day had that mystifying quote that we'll get to in just a moment. It's an 8-point Golden State lead. Here's Howard for 3.
Warriors go to a 3-2 zone out of the timeout, knowing that Avery Johnson was going to draw something up against a man-to-man.
There's Harris, and he is blocked by Davis. All right, here's what Dirk had to say prior to Game 4. I wouldn't say we're worried, but our backs are against the wall. If we lose Game 4, this season is pretty much over.
This is the potential MVP, the probable MVP, the guy who's supposed to be your alpha dog. Even if you're down 3-1, you know, we saw Phoenix come back from 3-1 last year. 8 teams have done it, and you hate to see that if you're Dirk's teammate as far as a confidence standpoint.
Well, the Mavericks did come from behind with that dramatic run, and trailing 3-1, did take game number 5, but in a hole right here. Howard knocks down a 3. Josh Howard has played well. 16 points for Howard. It's a 62-57 Golden State lead.
It's a shootout, 3-point shootout. You see Richardson posting about Terry, and the help comes from Stackhouse.
A defensive 3-second violation, which will lead to a technical foul. Well, the Warriors have hit 10 of 16 from downtown. Dallas 8 of 19. Stephen Jackson 5 for 5 from beyond the 3-point line. He's tied his playoff career high for 3-pointers made. It's his 4th time with 5. So he's 5 for 5 from 3-point land, 0 for 7 on 2-point shots.
And one of those guys who just doesn't really care. I mean, like Baron Davis, same way. Another 3 from Jackson.
Now that is a new playoff career high for 3-pointers for Stephen Jackson as the Warriors extend to a 9-point lead. It matches their biggest lead of the night. Biedrins with the rebound. Barnes runs the floor. Leaves it for Jackson, who fires. Yes! Timeout, Dallas. Stephen Jackson has scored the last 13 points for the Warriors in the midst of a 13-3 run.
And when I said Stephen Jackson doesn't care, I mean it in the best possible way. He doesn't care about missing. It doesn't matter if he's missed 5 or 6 in a row. He's still going to fire away. Same goes for Baron Davis. And even with Davis hurt, the Warriors have gotten back to that mentality that they had for most of this series. They're just letting it fly.
20,677 here at Oracle Arena in Oakland. It's an all-time record crowd for the Warriors, and we're told it marks the largest crowd to ever witness a basketball game in the state of California. What emotion and what energy from this crowd here in Oakland. And Steve, even when this franchise was going through its lean years, the crowd still came out. You have the enthusiasm. Not quite what we're seeing here in recent weeks.
Not quite, but I think it's the best crowd in the NBA, and they deserve what they're getting right now. It's been a long time coming for Warriors fans, 13 years to be exact.
A call by Steve Jabby. Away from the ball. It's on the Warriors. Foul on Jackson. That's his third. Avery Johnson has sent on Jerry Stackhouse. Austin Crozier is in for the first time as Dirk Nowitzki is up front with Crozier and Howard. Crozier had a good one off the bench the other night. Here's Crozier getting inside, and he is stopped. Davis playing on one leg. Davis puts the move on. Biedrins is fouled.
You know, Marv, I talked to Flip Saunders last week, and I asked him about what was going on in this series. And he said, you know, Dallas is kind of going through what we went through a year ago. Remember the Pistons won, what, 65 games, I think? But they spent the month of April basically playing meaningless games, and it cost them in the playoffs. They lost their edge. I think the same thing has happened here to Dallas. They spent about 3 or 4 weeks, you know, resting guys, not playing for anything in particular. You know, they struggled down the stretch. They went 6-4. You know, meanwhile, Golden State had to fight and claw its way into the playoffs. They won 9 out of 10, and you can see the difference. Don Nelson's team playing with great energy. They're playing with an edge. Dallas has lost that edge, and we know what happened to the Pistons even after advancing last year. We'll see what happens with the Mavericks.
Funny, it did affect the Chicago Bulls when they won 72 games.
Well, Michael Jordan was around. That's a little different story.
Here's Stackhouse rimming out. Crozier with the rebound. Crozier comes up short. He was looking for contact. Davis to Barnes. He lost the handle.
You know, the roof would have come off in this place if he had made that one.
Crozier. Rebounded by Biedrins. Coming up on 5 minutes remaining in the third. Davis able to penetrate. Baron Davis, despite the hamstring pull, put it on the floor and was able to go right at Jason Terry. Golden State has opened up a 14-point lead.
And Avery Johnson does not want to use another timeout. He's got to save some for the end of the game, but he may need one the way his team is playing.
Nowitzki had it knocked aside. It's a 15-3 run by the Warriors. Biedrins and Barnes late in coming to the front court, and the three Warriors had to wait for the rest of the squad to make it up court. Shot clock down to 6. Davis whips by Nowitzki and is fouled by Crozier. And Davis and Crozier having words.
Former high school teammates.
Look out.
Mark Wonderlick gets knocked down. Remember, Crozier and Baron Davis both went to Crossroads High in Santa Monica. And remember, almost the same thing happened in Game 5 when Davis drove baseline. Another hard foul, very clean foul from Crozier. No reason for Davis to be upset, but the emotion in here is unbelievable.
And that would not be a good exchange if you had 2 guys ejected and one is Baron Davis.
Pretty good trade for Dallas.
Nothing personal against Austin.
we love Austin.
But they are handing out double technicals. It has been a very testy series. Total of 15 technicals. See 272 fouls, 4 disqualifications, all on the part of Golden State. several ejections.
And you know what's shocking to me, Marv, is the way Baron Davis is going around these Mavericks defenders, even with the pulled hamstring. I mean, their defense, the Maverick defense, has completely collapsed. You see Nowitzki go to the bench with just 4 points, 1 of 11 shooting. They are so out of whack right now. It is shocking.
Including the playoffs, the Warriors have won 9 of the last 12 games against Dallas, 6 of 8 this season, including the postseason. They swept the season series 3-zip, including 2 blowouts by 17 and by 29. Both those games here in Oakland. And back in March, they were the ones who snapped the Mavericks' 17-game win streak. 73-57. Golden State with 4:15 left in the third. Diop lost it. Richardson with Stackhouse picking him up. Jackson off the fake is fouled by Howard. So Jackson to the line. Let's go to Pam Oliver. Pam?
Well, Marv, the Mavs shoot around today. The media has plenty of performance questions for Dirk Nowitzki. Can you do it again? Do you feel like much is riding on your shoulders? Dirk downplayed things as usual, but his teammates know they've got to have another standout night from their stars. So far, nothing.
All right, Pam, and one of the Warrior stars, Stephen Jackson, at the line. He's 2 of 3 at the free throw strike.
And what's happened here in the third quarter, Marv, they've gotten back to that chaotic style that suits them so well. I watched the game last night in Phoenix, and Craig Sager came on the telecast. He called the Suns' offense, I think it was organized chaos, or organized chaos, I think was the term. This is just chaos. I mean, there's not much structure involved with what Golden State does. They just go. And they've got the motor running here in the third quarter. The crowd is into it. This is unbelievable. In this series coming into tonight. So, you know, he's a guy who's going to make 4 or 5 mistakes, but he's also fearless with that jump shot.
Warriors have outscored the Mavericks 25-9 in this third quarter. Dallas only 4 of 13 shooting. Warriors 8 of 11, 4 for 4 from beyond that three-point line. Dirk Nowitzki, who has been invisible, continues to sit. Crozier fouled as Barnes tried to knock it aside. That's 4 on Barnes. 4th team foul called on Golden State. Mavericks are over the foul limit. So Avery Johnson goes with Harris and Terry at the guards, with Crozier, Diop, and Stackhouse up front.
And at what point do you get Dirk Nowitzki back into the ballgame if you're Dallas?
Here's Terry for 3. Jackson tips it. Handled by Biedrins. And here comes Davis.
Biedrins playing another big role here in the third quarter with that rebounding ability.
Davis met on a switch. Played by Diop. He goes at him. And a foul.
We got the penalty now for 3.5 minutes. And Baron Davis knows that. So as soon as he gets that switch on Diop, rather than settle for the 3, he attacks and earns 2 trips to the foul line.
Coverage of the NBA playoffs continues. Friday on ESPN, it's Game 6 of the Raptors and the Nets, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And then Sunday on ABC, Game 7, if there is a Game 7 between the Nets and the Raptors. Nets looking to conclude matters on Friday night. But if the Raptors win, it goes to a 7th and deciding game. And that will be seen on ABC. Or Game 1 between the Nets and the Cleveland Cavaliers, followed by Game 1 of the Spurs and the Suns. That coverage starts 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. A 20-3 run by the Warriors.
Golden State stays in this 3-2 zone. And what's the call here?
Stepped out of bounds.
Stepped out of bounds, so they get the baseline shot that they're looking for, or at least that baseline area where Stackhouse was so effective in that first quarter. But then he just steps right out of bounds.
Here's Jackson for 3, but a whistle had blown as Jackson released the shot.
Tell you what, that might have counted too, because the call happened simultaneously. Question is, were they fouling Biedrins on purpose there? I mean, this is a little early for a hack of Biedrins, if that's what you want to call it.
Well, he's only a 55% free throw shooter during the regular season.
He did make a couple in the first half.
As you mentioned, has that unusual release, the line drive shot by Biedrins, so he's 3 of 5 at the line.
But what are you telling your team here if you're Avery Johnson? I mean, this is a club that has changed its identity under Johnson the last couple of years. You know, they've become much better defensively, but this is waving the white flag a little bit. This is basically saying, we can't stop them. We're going to foul Biedrins instead.
Dallas scoreless the last 4.5 minutes. And they're down by 21 with just under 3 to play in the third. Stackhouse. And they cannot find the range. The ball back to the Warriors as Michael Biedrins checks back in.
And he gets a huge ovation. Well-deserved. Not only knocking down those free throws, but 12 boards on the night to go along with 12 points. He's been a defensive presence in the lane. And Dallas goes back to the zone. They immediately trap Davis.
Here's Barnes. Oh, a facial over Nowitzki. 18 unanswered by the Warriors. This is extraordinary. Stackhouse able to lay it home.
You know, and if you're wondering, you know, where's Dirk? Golden State has done a terrific job in this entire series of surrounding him. They're playing his zone, but they're shading Nowitzki every time. And he's 1 for 11. It's easy to say, well, go to the hoop. Tough to go to the hoop against the zone.
Richardson for 3. And that went over the backboard, so the ball back to Dallas.
Well, this is something Dallas did at the end of Game 5. They went at Davis with a trap, but this is not what Golden State did. They settled for jumpers in that final 3 minutes. Don Nelson told his club, if they do that tonight, we attack the rim.
And obviously, Don Nelson, the man who traded for Dirk Nowitzki when he was head coach of the Mavericks, knows Dirk very well, knows all the tendencies, and that has certainly been an advantage in this series. Loose ball foul is charged to Stackhouse. They went over the limit very early, and that has hurt.
Well, take a look at what Golden State is doing to Dirk. They're playing a little 3-2 zone, but you see Richardson's not going to leave him. Biedrins isn't going to leave him. Steven Jackson with an arm on him. Now Biedrins, no matter where he goes, and no matter what defense Golden State is in, man-to-man or zone, they're laying in his lap, and he just cannot get out of that trap.
Warriors with free throws 12 and 13 in this third quarter, and now 9 for 12. Dallas has not been to the line here in the third. That 18-0 run ended just a moment ago, but it has been total destruction here in the third quarter by Golden State.
I'll tell you the other thing Golden State has done well, they've kept Devin Harris in front of them. Remember last game, Harris broke free for 16 points. A lot of points late, penetrating to the hoop, but tonight, not much going to the rim for Harris.
And here is Harris, fouled by Biedrins. That is his first. Dallas has outscored Golden State 32-11 here in the third quarter. So Harris to the line with 1:33 remaining in the third. From exclusive courtside interviews to encore performances of the Emmy Award-winning Inside the NBA, log on to NBA.com for TNT Overtime's excellent playoff coverage. TNT Overtime, the basketball broadband channel that's on all the time, only at NBA.com.
I'll tell you the other problem with Dallas shooting so few free throws here tonight, Marv, is that when they shoot a lot of free throws, they're able to get their defense set up at the other end. They can slow the game down. They can control the tempo. When they don't get to the line, Golden State is able to get out running and create the pace that they like.
And they were second in free throw shooting at 81%, but a team that does not get to the line frequently. And tonight we're looking at 9 free throws overall, 6 of 9. That's it. Here's Davis for 3. Rebounded by Howard. Harris open for 3. Yes. Devin Harris with the angle shot from three-point territory. The Warriors 82, the Mavericks 63.
A couple of big plays from Harris. They're getting to the line, then knocking down the 3. But your Golden State, that's the man you want shooting from three-point range.
Here's Davis going glass, going right at Nowitzki.
And I like that much more than that three-pointer he shot on the previous possession. He knows that Dallas is over the limit. Foul-wise, he's got to continue to attack.
20 points for Davis. Howard is left open for 3. Biedrins comes away with it.
Nelson wants a 2-for-1 here. They never slow it down.
Davis got the step. Davis. Rebounded by George. And Harris pulls it back. Nowitzki gives it up. George for 3. Here's the outlet. Barnes to the hoop. And foul. Foul by Harris.
You know, any other coach in the league in that situation would have said, pull it out, let's take the last shot. But on that replay, or on that long rebound, I looked over at Don Nelson. There was 13 seconds on the game clock, or there is now. It was about 16 when they got the ball. He's waving to his team, go. We've got the advantage, continue to attack. And I like the mentality. That's what got them the lead in this series in the first place. And remember, they got away from that late in Game 5, and that's when they lost their aggressiveness.
But Steve, getting back to Dirk Nowitzki, one of the leading candidates for most valuable player honors when you talk regular season. Dallas in a huge hole here. He has attempted 1 shot in the third quarter.
Well, we saw that at the end of Game 5. He had not attempted a shot in the fourth quarter until those 2 late threes. So I think at some point, you know, you're the MVP. You got to at least fire a couple of shots from long range. Just get a shot up.
Here's George. And that's the end of the third quarter. The Warriors outscore the Mavericks 36-15. And Golden State could be 12 minutes of basketball away from pulling off the biggest upset in the history of the NBA playoffs.